the thing that people in power fear the most is the fact that one day they may lose that power. Is that someone else may take their seat and strip them of all privileges and ranks and wealth. And that absolutely terrifies them. And so they need safety. They need safety from the people that could take over. And so governments understand that when bad things happen in their country, most people can't really articulate who's to blame or why, but they just get like the bad vibe. They have like this impression that maybe the nation should be doing better than it is. Maybe our parents actually have better lives than we do, despite the fact that we have access to better technology. And so when inflation hits, when taxes go up, when crime goes up, most people may not actually be able to point to which policy or what can be done in order to fix it. But they definitely like have this idea that things could be better. And so this is when the government start fearing the people. They're not necessarily afraid that the people could vote for the opposition, although like that is something that can happen. But they're also afraid that the people could begin with malicious compliance, that they could actually fund anyone that's resisting. They could actually fund their opposition, not just vote, but like economically support. That there may be cultural movements that go against the elites. And so this is where the elites have to crack down. But they can't be honest about it. They can't just tell the people, hey, we actually want to protect our interests, and we are responsible for the reason why the economy is going to shit and why your safety is in danger by mobs and criminals. But in order to protect ourselves, like, we're going to censor you. That's not how it works, right? The way that it's done is to try and sell it to the people as if they want the censorship, as if they benefit from the censorship. And up until now, during the Bush era, it was fear of terrorism. Like after 9/11, it was, we need to crack down on your liberties in order to protect you from terrorists. But as we saw, especially in the European Union, where you had like one terrorist attack per month during the 2018-2020 era, that ship has sailed. Like the threat that we need to crack down on your liberties in order to protect you from terrorism doesn't work as well as it used to. So now it's about, think of the children. The internet is an extremely immoral and dangerous place. I mean, you grew up on it, right? And so we are going to help your children from this bad thing called the internet. And we're going to have the e-safety commissioner, and it's going to keep your children safe. And so a lot of people will appreciate that. For the right is religious reasons. Like, I want my child to be able to go on the internet and rage at other people and be able to play violent video games, but I need to keep him protected from all of those monster girls. And so they will support that. And for the left, it's, well, we need to protect LGBT people. We need to protect vulnerable minorities from hate speech. And this is how Australia created the e-safety commissioner, right? A profession that's extremely well paid, a very successful grift. I think she's making over $500,000 just by censoring the internet. Prestigious position, right? Like, she is the woman of the nation. She is the mother of all Australians now. Capable of enforcing religion. I mean, Jesus definitely works through her. And so does all of the people of color and marginalized voices that now have her to represent their interests. And the way that this censorship works is insanely insidious, by the way. And it does affect Americans. Because on the surface, they will say, okay, if you have a website that's operating in America, you can have your website that's operating in America, but that website is also broadcasting in Australia. And so if you have Australian citizens on your website, then you need to respect Australian law. And brainlets like Academic Agent actually agree with this principle. They think that's how the world should work. And so some websites will just say, well, okay, how about you go fuck yourself? and they're just going to region block Australia. But the problem is that many websites aren't, like for instance Twitter. Like Twitter wants to be international, and so it's not going to region block Australia. Instead, it's going to comply. And by complying with Australia, it's forcing American citizens now to be unable to have free speech. And apparently, what the Australia required, again, like they were selling it like to protect children. And then you have actual cases of violence that require public discussion. They're newsworthy. Like the stabbing of Irina in the subway, or the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or there was a bishop that got stabbed. The e-safety commissioner says, no, remove that from the platform. And so if you're an American citizen and you want to benefit from having this adult conversation about important current political events, well, you can't, because the e-safety commissioner is saying no, because that website can be viewed in Australia and therefore it has to apply by Australian law. Take it down. And when it takes it down, again, an American citizen could have been the one that posted it. And now he's being suppressed by the algorithm, or in other cases like Facebook or other platforms can have his entire stuff taken down. So the American government understands the danger, right? Like they understand the fact that Australia is a nation incapable of creating its own social media because it reeks with taboos and things you aren't allowed to do. And so like no one would want to use their social media to begin with. However, they want to use America's social media by forcing their culture on American culture. And again, like academic agent, the Brainlet is okay with this. To explain to you what it would mean. It would mean that in Britain you have like the BBC, right? Which is a publication that's transmitting, like it used to transmit radio, right? Now people in France can hear that radio, and it would be like people in France saying, because French citizens can actually listen to the BBC, you now have to apply by French rules. Like you have to, we gotta do the BBC follow exactly what France standards are, right? Or if you have a television station in the UK and it can be viewed in France, then France should be able to impose its regulations on that station. Like it's complete madness, right? Like everyone can see why it's horseshit. Like in an international community, you gotta give it, you gotta take and give a little. You can't just impose your will on the entire human race. Now, the question is like, will America put up with it? America has absolutely no interest in allowing other nations to dictate how their corporations should and shouldn't be regulated. Although, you know, like it has other interests with Australia. Economic, military, so on and so forth. So the question is like, what will happen behind the scenes? What will the politicians negotiate? From what I've seen, they already negotiated with the UK because the UK wanted also their version of e-safety commissioner. They call it Ofcom. And they wanted the Ofcom to have a backdoor into Apple. So basically, they wanted to see what every single American uploads in the cloud. Whether their the social security number, their medical information, their personal address, pictures of their wife naked, it doesn't matter. The British government wanted to have access to that. And so JD Vance told them, how about you go fuck yourselves? And the UK went, okay, well, we're going to fuck ourselves, but we're still going to request Apple allow us this to have this information for the British citizens. And now it seems that the conversation has moved away from the UK all the way to Australia. And it's going to be interesting to see what the US government says. Because the thing is, they can't actually impact American companies. The thing is, like, yeah, they could region block Twitter, right? Like, nothing is stopping them from doing that. But they would cause economic distress in their own nation. Like, there are people that require to use Twitter in order to keep their businesses afloat. And there's also, like, politicians and journalists that need Twitter. And so, like, they don't want that scandal. What they want is to regulate it without the scandal. And it's also the fact that if, like, the entire Silicon Valley was to tell any nation, including the UK, we're pulling out, the economic catastrophe would be significant because in modern time, most businesses, even banks, they're connected to social media. And so if all the companies would be like, yeah, we're not going to put up with your shit, change the law or fuck off, then you'd see the same situation that happened in Canada with Facebook or in Australia with Facebook, where Facebook basically said, no, we're not complying. And then they have to cut. But still, there are cases where the nation is big enough, like for instance Brazil, where they did say, yeah, we're not going to allow X anymore. And eventually Elon Musk cut. That's a little bit more complicated though, because Elon Musk also had the other parts of his companies over there, like he had deals with SpaceX, and he probably didn't like that, started hitting his other companies. So it was almost like they were hitting Elon Musk. They weren't hitting the American government as a whole. So that's why they managed to weasel themselves. But regarding this situation, I'm really curious to see where it happens, what's going to happen, because it is definitely going to affect the future of the internet. Which is basically like, should the internet have the standards that are basically abiding to the most censorious nation on earth? Because it's not just Australia, right? You got Australia, UK, Canada, the European Union. And so if you run a website on every single topic, like for instance showing the news, you're going to have to say, okay, which one of these nations are the most censorious? Because if we comply to them, we comply to the others. And as you can see, like, the censorship is entirely political motivated, and is entirely designed to protect the people in power. It's not about protecting children, because they're very much aware that children have actually started using video game characters and AI faces in order to bypass the region block. No, they're actually, first of all, interested in destroying internet anonymity, cracking down on people's ability to use VPNs. Like, it's actually being discussed in the UK right now to make VPNs illegal. And it's also interested in controlling the narrative. Like, they don't want news of what happened to Charlie Kirk or what happened to Irina or bishops getting stabbed becoming public. Because as I mentioned before, right, like, if the people have grievances and they're simmering, but they can't really articulate it, they don't have a martyr to rally behind, they don't have a cause, an ideology, then the government can actually extend its period of governorship. Hopefully that, like 10 years or 20 years from now, these things will go away. And they can guarantee themselves a little bit extra time. And this is what the censorship is about. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Fake out.